Well, hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining once again. So I want to respond to a pretty, in a way, kind of funny video to me because this guy has the audacity to actually say this. But apparently, there was a Tic Toc video that went viral about a male who's the father of two children who received notification, I think it was an email notification stating that he will not get his $740 in food stamp benefits unless he works 20 hours a week. And he's ranting and raving and talking about he's not going to work for anyone. And I'm going to let you guys listen in on this audio clip. It's a Tic Toc video. Let you guys listen in on this audio clip, and then I'm going to respond to this. And hopefully this brother is listening, which I know he's not. That'll be the chance of him listening to this video is a 1 in a million, probably, you know. But if he just so happens to be listening to it, I want him to hear what I have to say about this, okay? So let's get right into this video. A man's rant about his EBT benefits and the government has gone viral. He claimed that he lost hundreds of dollars a month in EBT benefits due to new work laws, the Daily Dot reported. As a result, he apparently recorded himself ranting about how the government is spending on wars but not helping those in need. The man can also be heard saying, "I'm not working for nobody," in frustration. So let's get in on this. Let's see if I can get you guys. Let's see. Give you a visual of this cat. Here he is.
From EBT, I used to get $740 a month for my two kids, and we not getting EBT no more. They took the EBT. They saying I gotta work 20 hours a week. I'm not working for nobody. Get the fuck out of here. This is what Americans, taxpayer, work for us. They work for me. They gotta help me feed my fucking kids.
Work for him,
Get
man.
the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be quitters now. Y'all been helping us all this fucking time. Now y'all want to tap out. Get the fuck out of here. I want my EBT, yo. I want my EBT, and I'm not working for nobody. I'm a fucking boss. What the fuck I look like working? When the government is here to help. Come on. Y'all send all that money to Iraq, Ukraine. Y'all funding all these wars. But when it's time to help the Americans, y'all don't want to fucking help us? I need my fucking EBT, yo. I need my money, yo. I need my fucking EBT.
You hear that, y'all?
Stop fucking playing with me, yo.
Pardon the language. Pardon the language, y'all. Okay. Pardon the language, but you heard what he said, right? You heard what he said. Okay. Now, y'all better get with the program. You guys better get with the program. Okay. Because he said that he's not working for nobody. So if you're watching this video and you are working, you owe him. But anyway, yeah. Now that wasn't I don't believe that was no AI or any of that. Okay, that was apparently a YouTube, TikTok video that went viral. Now, first things first, let me just address this. I think I said this before some time ago. I think it was like a year ago. I did a video that was similar to this. I've been down that road, so I want to make it clear that I am not against anyone being on welfare. I'm not against anyone being on having EBT or having EBT cards or whatever. I'm not against that. I mean, to be honest with you, if the government was to offer me an EBT card with $200 of money on there that I could buy groceries with, you think I wouldn't take it? I would take it. I'm a working man, but I would take it because it would save me a lot of money. It would save me a lot of money in paying rent and all these other bills, these high rent and all these other bills. It would save me money. Okay? All right. So, but I feel like if the government was to offer me that money, I would feel that I'm more justified in getting it. You want to know why? Because I'm out here working. I'm putting into the system. Okay? That is my money that I'm putting into the system. So if the government gives me $200 in food stamps every month to help me with food, you're really not technically giving me anything. You just giving back the money that I gave to you by force. Actually, I didn't give them the money. They took it out of my check by force. They didn't come to me and say, "Mr. Bowling, would you like to donate or give a certain amount of money to the EBT program. They didn't. No, they forcefully took my money and your money out of your check to pay for these programs, these socialist programs. It's the truth. It's not a conspiracy theory. It is what it is. But if they were to give me that, I wouldn't deny it. But but in essence, though, my point is this: is that I'm not against people being on EBT. I'm not against people being on welfare at all, because I've been there at least twice. Okay, and the program is supposed to help people who are down and out. Okay, it's supposed to be limited. It was always supposed to be for a limited time. I'm not going to go into the history of how it started and all this. I'm not going to get to all of that. But it was not supposed to be permanent. Now, with that being said, let's deal with this brother here. He probably was given custody of his children, and I'm glad about that. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. Okay? That here's a man that seems to be responsible. It seems to be at first to be responsible enough to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to take custody of these kids. Perhaps if that's the case, I'm going to take custody of these of my children, and I want to take care of them. But I have to ask the question: did he work at any point in time in his life? Because as I read the rest of the article, it did not seem to indicate that he had worked at any point in time in his life in the past. It didn't seem to have worked at any point in time in his life. I didn't get any of that from the article. Okay? So, man, I'm looking for it now. I haven't getting any of that in the article. Okay? Let me read something here in the article. Let me read something real quick. It says, following this, the rest of his rants show him repeatedly demanding his EBT from the government, and then the clip ends. Okay, the identity of this man remains unknown, and it appears that his rant was first posted on Tic Toc by at Layu 1980, whatever it is. After it was reshared on Twitter X, the clip gained significant traction, gathering over 700,000 views. Several users stepped into the comment section to share their views on the man's rant. And I'm not going to really, read any of their rants up to this point. I mean, their comments in response to this man's rant up to this point. But I'm going to say this. Here's my view on that. Okay, first of all, brother, if you're watching this, number one, working people are not working for you. That's what he said. He said, you guys are the ones working for me. Now, I'm interpreting that to mean working people, not the government. Okay? Not the government, because the government takes taxes out of working people's check, out of their income, and uses that money for all kinds of socialist and outreach programs and all the rest. Okay? I'm assuming he's talking about you and I. Us working folk, okay? Working a 9 to 5. He's saying that we work for him. So why dip out now? And my response to this brother is, no, we don't work for you. Working people, last I checked, work for themselves or their family or whatever. If they're single and by themselves, I'm going to make the assumption that that working person is working for themselves. They're not working for people who are on welfare. No, they're not. They're not. I'm not. Let me personalize. Let me personalize. Okay. Me, Ryan, I'm not working for people who are on welfare. I'm not against you being on welfare, but I'm not working for you. I'm going to work for Ryan. Ryan, I'm going to work for me. You understand? Because I got rent to pay. I got to buy bill. I got to buy food. Pay bills. Pay lights and stuff like that. I need transportation. I got to pay for transportation. Okay. And not to mention the small little luxuries that I have when I have any money remaining. That's who I'm working for. I'm not working for you, sir. I'm not working for people who are on welfare. God bless them, but I'm not working for them. The government forcefully takes my money out of my check without my permission and without anybody else's permission. They take it out of our check and then distribute it to you. Okay. But we, the working people, are not working for you, sir, or anyone else that is on the program. So let's set that straight. We're not dipping out and reneging for nothing, okay? We're working for ourselves. That's the first thing. Secondly, according to what he said in this rant, and according to what the article says, is that when he received this information from the government, they said basically that he has to work 20 hours a week in order to continue to receive his $750 a month in benefits. How selfish, self-centered, narcissistic, and goofy do you have to be to say, I ain't working for nobody? If you really care for those kids, you would work that punk, sissified, silly little weak 20 hours a week. Okay, bro, you would do that. If you care for them kids, you would work that 20 hours a week. Newsflash, I was down that road before when I was on welfare. They sent me a letter saying you got to work 20 hours a week in order to continue this receiving your benefits. I've been there. So I'm taking from somebody who actually been there. And guess what? I worked that 20 hours a week. And I didn't have any kids. It was just me. I mean, I have a child, but he didn't live with me. He doesn't live with me. So I wasn't taking care of him per se in that way. Not on that level. I was taking care of him with child support, but I wasn't taking care of him, living with me. I was taking care of moi, but I wanted my food stamps. At the time, I lost my job. I wanted my food stamps. So in order for me to continue to get my food stamps and my EBT, I had to do that 20 hours a week. Now, at first, I bucked and now I want to do this and how they going to make me this. But then I thought about it. I said, let me go ahead and do it. If I want these food stamps, I better go ahead and do this. Want these benefits, I better go ahead and do it. So I went on and worked. And I learned a lot. I met some very great people. I mean, it was really, as a matter of fact, I miss when I'm on the bus and I'm going down that way where they had me stationed. I oftentimes think about the young men that I met, the people that I met there, the workers that I met there. It was a work program. And I missed them. I missed them because I learned so much. We had a good time together, man. And I learned how to do certain things. I learned how to do certain things that I didn't know how to do before. And I was by myself. Now, my word to this brother is he has some tenacity. He has the audacity for him to say what he had to say. You got 2 children that you claim you have 2 children. Did you getting over $720 in food stamp benefits and EBT, and yet you don't want to do 20 hours a week? You are a selfish, mean-spirited man. You are. Are you being a good father, sir? You're not. Because if you're to be a good father, you got to be willing to make a sacrifice. And making a sacrifice of 20 hours a week to keep your $720 when you are food stamp benefits, when you are perfectly able to do so, show you are the one wrong. I don't want anybody to take sides with this man. He is wrong. He is selfish and he's narcissistic. And here's another thing. And he lazy. To sit up here and cuss and say F you and blame the government for what they're doing, giving money to Ukraine and all that. Okay, you can argue that the government gave money to Ukraine and all this kind of other stuff. Okay, we can argue all about that. We can argue about it, but that has nothing to do with you getting up and doing what you need to do to keep your benefits. That has nothing to do with it. What does the government giving money to Ukraine and financing these wars and all of this have to do with you as a man, if you call yourself that, getting up and putting in 20 hours a week to keep your $720 in BBT benefits? If a work week makes up 40 hours, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 40 hours, right? 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, you only got to do 20. So if you do just a couple of days, 8 hours, or 2 or 3 days, and get it out of the way, bro, you ain't got to worry about it for the rest of the week. Most people that work a 40-hour week, they got to work the actual 40 hours at minimum. At minimum, because they might be called overtime. You know what, bro? if you're watching this, I was forced to work a double on a Saturday. I worked second shift. My relief didn't. I do security. My relief didn't come in. And my coworker that was working with me, our relief didn't come in. And they didn't tell us anything. They didn't call rat, cat, dog, poop, whatever. We ended up having to work till 6 o'clock in the morning. Can you imagine how sleepy we were? We was forced to do that. So it went over the minimum of 40 hours. And I didn't choose it. I had to do it because you can't just walk off, particularly with security. That's abandoning your post. That's being a man, bro. But to sit up here and cuss and rant and rave and blame the government for spending money on Ukraine and all this other kind of stuff and blame working Americans for not paying for you is one of the most ignorant, selfish, narcissistic, laziest things I've ever heard or seen. Bro, you are totally out of line. That's my word to you. You are totally out of line. And anyone that's on that system that's able to work, if you're able to work, let me say this again. If you're able to work, let me say this again. If you're able to work, let me say it one more time. If you're able to work, not talking about anyone that's watching this video, but if you are and you're able to work, you should be working. If you're able to work, and you're getting benefits and EBT benefits, and you receive notification from the government that in order for you to keep getting whatever you're getting, you have to do 20 hours a week. You have no excuse not to get out there and do your time. You're being lazy. You're being selfish. And if I had a choice, I would be like, you know what? I'm not paying anybody to be lazy. But see, I and millions of working Americans have no choice but to pay into the system because the government takes the money out of our check regardless of whether we ask for it or not. They don't ask us. I told you before, they don't ask us. They just do it to pay your lazy end. You think that's fair, bro? It's not. We ain't got no choice, but he has a choice. That man has a choice. Millions of Americans who are receiving these benefits that are able to work have a choice. Kids or no kids, you have a choice. You can retain your benefits, Dumbo, if you get out there and do your 20 hours a week. It's simple. Well, some people have to do this. Man, come on. If you want to keep your benefits, you will find a way. You'll find a way. It's simple. So that's my word to him. What he had to say was just ludicrous, narcissistic, selfish. If he really cared for those kids that he claimed he has, okay, then he'll get out there and do his 20 hours. And quit all that crying and boo-hooing like a simp. You act like a beta. You act like a beta male. When you sit there boo-hooing and crying, F that, I ain't working for nobody. Negro, please. You want them benefits? You want to take care of your kids? Be a man. Be a man and put in your time, Negro. Be a man. What you gonna do? Nothing, not over here. But if I do happen to meet him, hey, I got the protection of the Lord and something else. Because I'm tired of people making excuses for their stupidity and laziness and ignorance, and then I got to be the one to pay for it. Millions of other Americans got to be the one to pay for it. That's bullcrap. We didn't pay for the illegals coming over here. We didn't pay for them without our consent. And we paying for these lazy, no good people who want to sit on their butt, who are able to work and don't want to work. We paying for them too? Man, get out of my life. Tell me I'm not right. Tell me I'm wrong about what I'm saying. If you're a working person, you know I'm not wrong. Now, I may be saying it and expressing myself in an intensive way, but that's just the way I do it, okay? That's just how I do it, okay? You don't see any photos. You see me going off. All right, how about that? All right. But I just wanted to say that, yeah, that's my word for him. That's my word for him. Brother, you off. You wrong. You wrong, bro. You wrong. Get out there, do your time. Do your 20 hours. Get it out of the way, man, so you can get your benefits and take care of you and your kids, man. And stop being a simp. Stop being a simp, bro. But that's what I had to say about that. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.